Next on Showtime, one of the best film adaptations of a Broadway musical. Howard Keel and Jane Powell get married, which sets off more marrying and dancing and singing. 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Next.
I went for a reading. You know, they'd seen 500 girls from Hawaii to Hong Kong, and then they couldn't find what they wanted, so they came to London, and they saw a few girls in London. And then I did my reading, and I went back again to do another reading. And then they said, we want you to come to Los Angeles to do a screen test with Eddie Murphy, and he'll have the final say. My first meeting with Eddie was on the Paramount lot for the screen test. And I'll never forget, he yawned during the screen test. And I remember thinking, God, who does this guy think he is? So I was like this, you know. And after the screen test, he looked at me from the other side of the studio and he winked at me. So I said, I wonder what that means. You know, I was like looking for the meaning of it. And then the director came up to me and said, he really loves you, you know. We think you've got it. We have to just check. And so it was up to 2 girls, and he chose me.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers pack up the plantation. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers pack up the plantation. On Showtime, you won't want to miss it. Tomorrow, the greatest legend of all time, about the greatest treasure known to man, is about to be pursued by the greatest hero.
Great reflexes, boy.
I told you before, I know nothing of him.
Before you didn't have a gun pointed at your nose.
Yes, it's coming back to me.
Join Richard Chamberlain.
They're having us for dinner.
And Sharon Stone for the adventure of a lifetime that you won't see on HBO or Cinemax. It's King Solomon's Mines, only on Showtime. Tomorrow.
Jessica Lange just left hers.
Why aren't I miserable?
Diane Keaton doesn't have one.
So you just tell me, what man is gonna love me? What man is gonna love me?
Sissy Spacek just shot one. Men, you can't live with them.
Lemonade?
But the McGrath sisters can live without them.
Would you like a Coke instead? Oh, it's so good to be home.
I have just about had my fill of you trashy McGraths and your trashy ways.
So how's your wife?
Oh, she's fine.
Going around with married men, shooting your own husbands.
Crimes of the Heart.
Help!
Exclusively on Showtime.
Monday.
Truth is, you put a crying baby in front of your face, and you can do something that you know, you can't tie your shoes correctly.
Can't remember your lines.
brain just goes, fritzes. You know, crying baby jams
Because you rehearse time after time with a doll.
It's very quiet,
It's
very
quiet.
nice.
It does
everything
anything you
want.
want.
Really.
And then the baby comes in and starts screaming, and you don't remember a single line.
I had to go to 3 different places, buy 4 different kinds of formulas, 2 different kinds of diapers, bottles, towels.
Bill Harris in Hollywood, one of the big surprises of winter '87 and '88, is a hit comedy starring 3 men and a baby. Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, and Steve Guttenberg are the 3 men, and right now we meet 2 of them, 2 of the biggest stars of the small screen, talking about their big screen success and adventure, and other adventures as well.
With all the comparisons being made among us all here, TV stars and movie stars and sex symbols and comedians, now, what are the odds that really we're talking to 2 jocks who just weren't good enough in basketball?
That's it. You got us pegged.
You got it.
Frustrated jock.
Yeah. Have we ever just gone out in the hoops for a few times?
No, we threatened, though. Ted loves to play.
I know.
But I haven't played in about 4. I haven't really played seriously since I stuffed the basketball in the credits of Magnum, which is about...
Show off.
I was 40, but I haven't done it since. I don't know whether I can still do that.
Is this true, both of you shy nerds in high school?
I may be guilty of saying the actual term nerd. Yeah, I felt a little nerdy. I really related to Revenge of the Nerds. People say, how? But I couldn't ask a girl out. I'd think and rethink it and say, well, she'll say no, or she'll say this. I'll say this. So I'd have a whole relationship before I spoke to her, and it'd be over, and I'd be shunned. So I never said hi to begin with.
Oh, Ted, you said the same thing in an interview. It was difficult.
Yeah, I went to a prep school, so I didn't even have a boys' school, so I didn't even know what the material you were supposed to be working with was. You know, I really had a problem. I hung out with, it was easier to play basketball than confront that almost.
Early days, modeling, commercials. I realize you said that you at one point regret, because they made so much money off it, that you were part of a cigarette campaign.
Yeah, I did a sale on that. Actually, only from a career standpoint, the still photography work I did was a bit of a hindrance, because I got started in the business acting and doing film commercials, and I was under contract to a studio. But about 8 years in, I wasn't doing that well, and my wife was a model, and I started getting requests from her book because we had pictures together. So I did some still photography work, but what happened was you just didn't do that if you could work as an actor, and I already had film as an actor. So anybody who didn't know my work, which was most of the universe, who then saw my pictures on billboards, said, well, that guy's a male model. And there were these stigmas attached, which aren't correct or proper, or should be attached, but, you know, he can't act, he probably has no brains, on to the next person. And so I only did that for about a year, kind of, after about 8 years in the business, and decided it wasn't too good if I wanted acting in my future.
In the history of your performances, you saw yourself on screen for the first time in the onion field and thought you might never work again?
Yes.
Why?
Because I did not look like Cary Grant. I think deep down in my heart, I was, you know, Cary. And I looked up there and I went, no.
Is that true? It was just the looks. It was just the looks.
He was terrific in that film.
Yeah, yeah. No, it takes me about a year to see something I've been in, a year after the fact, for me to be able to watch the film and judge the film on its merits and not on my nose, you know, or something else.
But you like that film now?
Yeah, very much.
Now
so.
you're
I think
happy
it was
with
a very
it.
powerful, you know, raw film, absolutely.
When the two of you were going along at separate clips, but apart, in soap operas, 1.5 years and 2 years apiece in soaps.
I didn't know you did soap.
Hey, man.
See?
Hey.
Doctors in Somerset, Young and the Restless. Right?
That's right. Young and Restless, it's true.
A couple of shallow guys who made good.
That's right.
You look back, what did you take out of that? You learned how to work hard and long.
Panic, fear. Boy, I was never scared ever again in a work situation as a result of soap operas.
I was never as
terrifying.
frightened. Because in those days, I think Ted must have done it about the same time, even though Young and Restless was taped, but it was taped live, they didn't want to stop videotape for any reason. Because it was expensive.
Fire you, you know.
And so they let you make terrible mistakes on the air. And they do countdowns in your dressing room, 5 minutes to air, 3 minutes to air.
Oh,
and your only priority as an actor becomes, what's my first line, at least for me. So it was great training from that point of view. Plus, I did the same scene for 1.5 years.
Yes, yes.
Because I never signed a contract with them, and they didn't want to make me too important in the story.
Were you a good guy, bad guy?
I was a good guy, but
a sleaze?
He was a sleazeball.
I was hired to be a good guy, but I couldn't cut the mustard. They
said
sweat
he was
too
a
much, so I became a sleaze.
So they never made me that important in the story. So every time I appeared, which was about 5 times a month, I'd have to say, hello, pretty lady, about 5 times. So major achievement for me was getting it cut down to 3 times of hello, pretty lady, instead of 5.
Major achievement was getting it cut out altogether eventually. When, Ted, with Kate and Alexis in your life, the 2 prides and joys, can you give this man some advice on diapering? Did you know he'd do a good job on that scene?
Yeah, actually, he did. He was klutzy, about the right amount of klutzy, and terrified, and you know, it's.
But you diapered your baby first. Yeah. She came home for some time.
Yeah.
And how did you do the first time in real life?
Pretty well, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I did pretty well, but I had a smaller, you know,
thing
to work with. I had a day-old. Yeah, we're looking at a 6-month-old that does a lot different.
I had done it 19 years ago with my son, and it had been a long time, but I drew on this well that Ted had no knowledge of cloth diapers.
Yes.
Ted doesn't know cloth
They used to have little
diapers.
pieces of metal, you see, Ted.
Cloth,
Yeah, you put the pin in, you got to get your thumb in the way, so
what do you
if
do
it hits anything,
afterwards?
it's your thumb, not the baby.
What do you do afterwards?
You take
with cloth?
the diapers, it's full of poop.
Yeah.
You take it over the toilet,
Right.
and get most of it out, but you put it somewhere.
In a bucket that smells so bad you don't want to know.
Never open the diaper bucket.
It's true. Did you find it hard to work in diapering the baby? Was it hard to work with the
No,
snaps
I've never
and
worked with the disposables, and consequently I I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this picture. I had about a week after Magnum to get to Toronto. So I tried to stay as unprepared in that scene as I could. Apart from the lines, the diapers I just hadn't seen. I'd seen people do it, but they're complicated, those little things with the tabs and all, and it helped me in the scene, not doing any practice.
When the news came that Leonard Nimoy was directing, did you both run out and see Star Trek film?
No, I called Ted.
Are you still going to do it?
Are you going to do the picture? No, I'm still in it. I'm committed.
I was nervous. I was nervous.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that much about Leonard, and I loved the movie, but I didn't know that much about him. And I think we all are die-hard fans.
He's hard to work for, though. You know why? Because I mean, he's great to work for, except he doesn't come over to you. It was great. We're going on to the next shot. Wait till you see this on film. He just goes, fine, okay, let's go on. And you hoped you've done some good work, and you're on to something that you'll never get a second chance to do. Right. Leonard's just not real effusive.
Which one of you got good at telling the babies apart? We know they're twins, of course. Michelle and Lisa right now, would it be carried in? Could you tell one from the other?
Well, Michelle had a working problem in that she was more fascinated with the boom than us.
With the mic.
And you'd get in the scene with Michelle. She'd be up on all the paraphernalia.
And you try to position your face over the baby
and
so it
Leonard
looks
says,
like
wait,
they're
she
looking
doesn't
at
look
you.
like she's looking at you. And he doesn't say that to Michelle. He says it to you. So you're trying to get her.
But how do you compensate for that? You're rehearsing with a dummy, with a doll, everything goes perfectly, you know all your lines, you're great.
Yeah.
And then they put a real live little human.
Yeah, you don't compensate, which is what makes the film fun.
I came
and
to welcome it.
interesting.
You know, after you're threatened for a few days, it really is a nice,
because
you know you're going to get great accidents, and if you're not afraid of them, you'll stay in your character, and better things will happen than you ever dreamed about.
Absolutely.
Jack, I would like to introduce you to your daughter, Mary.
No, wait a minute, you guys. You can't be sure that this is my kid. What the hell am I supposed to do with it?
We've put our lives on hold, Jack, taking care of this kid, and now it's your turn.
Okay, all right, fine.
All right. Until I straighten this mess out, I'll take care of her. I mean, sure, why not? I'm an actor. I can do a father.
If you had found a baby on your doorstep when you were each a bachelor, what would it have done to your life in reality?
It would have changed my life, but I sure would have kept it.
I would have written a script about it and become famous. No, I don't know. What would I... Seriously?
Sure. I mean, it has happened to people in the past. Everything's based on reality, or they wouldn't have had the film.
When I was a bachelor, oh, no. I don't think I would have been able to cut it.
So what are we supposed to do about this?
We'll pick it up.
You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
You found it.
Thank you, Michelle, or is it Lisa? And Tom Selleck and Ted Danson. Bill Harris in Hollywood. We'll talk again.
Byline Showtime invites you to spend some time with Bruce Fierstein, author of Real Men Don't Eat Quiche and Nice Guys Sleep Alone.
Hello? 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 I don't know about you, but I've always had a hard time keeping up with modern technology. Take microwave ovens. They make me uncomfortable. I don't know about you, but I have always been suspicious of chicken that's been nuked. I don't really trust electric toothbrushes or talking scales.
Your weight is 152 pounds.
Maybe I'll weigh less if I get rid of the toothbrush.
Have a nice day.
And as far as home computers go, yours probably went the same place mine did, right in this closet. But despite giving in to all these things, I now find myself facing the biggest technological question of the 80s. No, it's not whether or not to buy my own Persian Gulf minesweeper, but rather to CD or not to CD. Yes, we've all been told that compact discs sound perfect. They're supposed to represent the most advanced, highest audio technology possible. But somehow, I've heard that song before. In 1966, I bought this record player. It was great. It played records at 4 different speeds. And I played the Mamas and Papas, the Beatles, and Simon and Garfunkel until you could see clear through the vinyl. They said it was high-tech because you could wash the plastic cover off. Now, at the time, I was happy. They said it was the most advanced thing going, until this came along in 1968. It was new, it was great, and not only did it play records at 4 different speeds, but they told me it played them through 2 speakers in stereo. So what did I have to do? Simple. I had to get rid of all my old mono records and replace them with new stereo versions. Now, at the time, I was happy. I remember thinking we'd gotten just about as advanced sonically as we were going to get, until I went to college. This was component hi-fi. They said it was the cutting edge of audio. Not only did it play through 4 speakers, but it came in 4 pieces and had dozens of switches, and knobs, and dials, and... By the way, does anybody have any idea what the loudness button was for? I mean, wasn't the whole idea of rock and roll loudness in the first place? Anyway, with components, I could now hear all the cracks and pops and scratches in my records. So once again, I had to replace all my albums. But once again, I was happy. Until, that is, 1976. Right, cassettes. They were smaller. You could record on them. They didn't break or scratch, and they said they were the highest technology available. So once again, I replaced all my albums with cassettes. And once again, I was happy. Until CDs came out. So the question now is, do I really want to hear In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida on CD? Do I really want to buy another version of Aqualung? Is there some cultural imperative that requires me to get Oingo Boingo on CD? Okay, so I caved in. I really did find it mandatory to experience all the crisp, clear sonic beauty that is Barry White and the Love Unlimited Orchestra. But I will tell you one thing. Of all the brilliant technological breakthroughs that have been introduced in the past 20 years, I am convinced that the most important one is remote control. Because the next time I hear about the latest breakthrough in music...
Yes, I definitely think CDs will be made obsolete by the new digital audio tapes.
All you do is aim it and go... Now that is what I call sound progress. Okay, where do I sign for this? Right here.
You've just heard from Bruce Fierstein. For more points of view on the current state of things, look to Byline Showtime.
Have a nice day.
Welcome to this month's Showtime Showbiz. Here's what's happening in the world of entertainment. Jane Fonda is back. She's making her first movie since The Morning After. Filming has started on Old Gringo, starring Fonda, Gregory Peck, and Jimmy Smits. It's about an American school teacher who travels south of the border. Jane has been welcomed with open arms by the Mexican community, but she may not be nearly so welcome in the state of Connecticut when she heads there later this year to begin shooting another movie called Union Street. It's a movie about a working-class woman making her way up the social ladder. But what has some residents of Waterbury, Connecticut riled is Jane's stand on Vietnam back in the 60s.
I said over Radio Hanoi at my own request exactly what I have been saying for years in this country. I am a proud member of the anti-war movement. I think that anyone who believes or who says that the anti-war movement prolonged the war needs their head examined.
When the local Veterans of Foreign Wars organization heard of her plans to make a film in their town, they printed up some 250 bumper stickers declaring, "I'm not Fonda, Hanoi Jane," and have distributed them around Waterbury. As a consequence, the Waterbury VFW has received over 3,000 requests for those bumper stickers. No comment from Jane so far. She's accustomed to stirring up controversy. And while Jane and Gregory Peck work in Mexico, other stars are working in Hollywood, but not necessarily in front of a camera. Many of them are working to win spots on this year's Academy Award honor list. All this month and up until February 5th, the polls will be open for the Academy Award nominations. One reason stars are now taking out ads in the trade papers like The Hollywood Reporter and Daily Variety. And one reason stars show up for events like the Golden Globe Awards, handed out each year by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. The Golden Globe Awards themselves aren't so important. What's important is the focus they throw on top performers at just the right time. Just when people are also figuring out their list of who should and who shouldn't get one of those mighty nominations. So that's one reason some of the biggest stars will be showing up at the Golden Globes party and all the other Hollywood parties going on in January. It may look like fun, but it's strictly business, especially if one has their eye on an Oscar. A dog-eat-dog business, you say? Well, it may be. Never before has Hollywood completely gone to the dogs. There have always been dog stars, like Rin Tin Tin in the 1920s and 30s, Lassie in the 1940s and 50s. But now the whole movie business seems to be crowded with canines. Last year, veteran dog star Benji helped his new movie, Benji the Hunted, rake in a cool $22 million at the box office for the Disney company. And now he's been joined by the likes of Mike the Dog, who created a sensation in Down and Out in Beverly Hills. And there's also Spuds MacKenzie of the Bud Light commercials. On ABC's new hit series Hooperman, there's Bijou, a wired-up, snapping, and somewhat obnoxious pooch who also became a major show business hit. Reportedly, there's no love lost between Bijou and Hooperman star John Ritter. Bijou even took a bite out of one of Ritter's fingers on their very first meeting. But as long as the Hooperman ratings stay, you can bet Bijou will also be staying. And Spuds MacKenzie is doing something many two-legged actors would gladly eat dog food for. After appearing in 10 Bud Light commercials, after having his mug splashed across more than 200 promotional items, Spuds is about to cross the line into theatrical movies. This year, he'll be playing a tail-wagging role in Robert Downey's new movie called Rented Lips. Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and Dean Martin recently announced a return of the Rat Pack. They were original Rat Packers along with Humphrey Bogart, Judy Garland, and others, and they will pack off to theaters and arenas to pack in crowds to hear the famous trio sing and clown together once again. And if they don't mind being called members of the Rat Pack, most of those younger actors called Brat Pack do mind their label. Stars like Judd Nelson, Ali Sheedy, Molly Ringwald, and Emilio Estevez have always considered the Brat Pack label demeaning. But now guess what? Along comes the Black Pack. That's the name Eddie Murphy and others have stuck on themselves. A group of young black comedians who hang out together and who more and more work together. Eddie Murphy is the head of the Black Pack, but other core members include Arsenio Hall, Hollywood Shuffle director Robert Townsend, and Paul Mooney, among others. One of the first movie projects of the Black Pack will be a new 1988 movie for Paramount, co-written and co-starring Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. And that's some of what's going on in the world of Showtime showbiz.
This is more than a story about corruption.
They're talking about dropping the investigation.
This is more than a story of one woman against a government.
You are a troublemaker.
That is a lie.
Larkin Bibb, second-degree murder. Christmas clemency, Clayton Dawson. Death penalty, commuted to life.
And we want a hearing scheduled right quick. That boy's daddy was a big contributor.
He told me this clemency would be successful if I gave him $20,000.
That's extortion.
No money has changed hands.
You're never going to get away with this.
Now, who the hell started this? Well, I think it's Marie. It's your mouth I'm talking about.
If I were you, I'd spend more time thinking about the future.
I will not resign.
It's more than a story of a woman in danger. It's a true story. Sissy Spacek and Jeff Daniels star in an exclusive you won't see on HBO or Cinemax. Marie, a true story, only on Showtime.
Marie, they're going to smear you with everything they can.
Thursday. Tough week at work?
Gotta be kidding.
Blood pressure up a little? Well, Showtime's got the cure because Friday night is comedy night.
Doctor, make it all better.
When Richard Pryor plays Doctor in Critical Condition. Then catch some of the brightest new comedy talent during Showtime's Comedy Club Network. At 10, it's an all-new episode of It's Gary Shandling Show. Then say hello to those crazies collectively called Brothers. And of course, no comedy night would be complete without the super antics of Super Dave. So be there when the fun starts Friday at 8, 7 Central.
What charm.
Say, my man, what's happening?
What wit.
Wait.
What sensitivity. What a crock.
This is son. One for me, one for me mate.
Is this your first trip to New York?
First trip anywhere.
Well, we might just have to give you one for free.
On what?
One of the surprise runaway hits of 1986.
How are you finding New York?
Bit of a lunatic us all. That's why I love it, because I fit right in.
But not on HBO or Cinemax. Paul Hogan is Crocodile Dundee.
G'day.
And he's exclusively on Showtime.
Premiering next month.
In the next 20 seconds, Showtime will present a sampling of the star power coming your way on the MGM Showcase. The MGM Showcase, every day of the week on Showtime.